Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over Netflix's new show, Black Summer, produced by The Asylum, as a prequel sort of spin-off to the show Z Nation. And if you don't know about Z Nation or haven't seen it, I am a personal huge fan of Z Nation. It is an absolutely awesome show, and unlike any other zombie show I have ever seen in my entire life.
Look out! God! Yeah! I'd pay money to see that again.
Z Nation takes place about 3 years after the zombie apocalypse, and it is about a team of survivors, of civilian survivors, led around by a African American, which is very rare for this genre, an African American woman named Lieutenant Roberta Warren. And Lieutenant Roberta Warren, along with characters such as 10K, Addie, Doc, those are just some of the few main characters that actually stay around, just to name a few, along with a bunch of other characters that move in and out. They are led around the country and directed by a person called Citizen Z, who works for the NSA and constantly contacts them through things like radio, telephone, and at one point even a drive-through intercom system, and lets them know which way is clear and such. Through these telecommunication systems, Citizen Z asks them to take a man named Murphy, a inmate who was forced against his will into an experiment to try to find a cure. And it actually worked. He survived 3 bites. To try to take him to a government facility so that they can use his blood and try to make a cure. So all through the show, they're trying to make Murphy go to this place, which Murphy does not want to do at all. He's been against this from the start. This was all forced on him. And it's just a great show. And it's hilarious. There's a lot of humor to Z Nation, and you slowly find out throughout the show things like, you know, the zombies can still somewhat think and stuff like that. And you often hear throughout the show the term Black Summer, which seems to refer to a very traumatic time when the zombie apocalypse first starts, but they never really go into it in Z Nation. Every time a character seems to bring it up, another character will shut them down and not want to hear about it, because it will remind them of all the trauma they went through losing their loved ones and such during the Black Summer. And so this entire spin-off is supposed to be of that Black Summer. And from what I've heard, a lot of people were not happy that it didn't have the same humor as Z Nation, but honestly, it wasn't supposed to. It's supposed to be a very traumatic time. And Z Nation itself, I mean, it's just so different for the genre. A lot of people seen it as a parody of the genre, while a lot of other people seen it more as just a whole different kind of zombie show. And that's more where I sit with it. So, unlike Z Nation, Black Summer starts right at the apocalypse, about 6 to 8 weeks afterwards. Black Summer follows survivors of this horrific event, specifically one named Rose, who ends up separated by her daughter, who is taken off. The daughter's supposed to be being taken off to a coliseum where everybody's supposed to be going there for safety, and she gets separated from her because her husband is turned, and the truck sort of just takes off with her daughter still on it. So the show kind of follows her at first, but it also ends up cutting and leaving her and going to different characters using cut screens with like one word things to tell you what's going on. Like when it goes to Rose, it said Rose, and then it goes to a guy named Spears and it says Spears, and a guy named Lance and says Lance, and it kind of keeps going like that. It's very fast-paced. The fast-pacedness of it reminds me very much of the movie Dawn of the Dead, the way it just kind of throws you into the action. Also, no character seems to be off limits for dying, much like R.R. Martin and Game of Thrones, but worse. Like, anybody could die in this. Like I said before, the show is very fast-paced, and it will keep you pulled in. The zombies change incredibly quick, and they're just on you, much like Z Nation. They seem to also be able to think, much like Z Nation. It kind of alludes to Z Nation in that way, in the way that they seem to be able to somewhat think and keep their prey in mind and follow them extensively, and even open doors and get into places, much like Z Nation. I've seen a lot of people criticize this part of it, and all the people I've seen criticize this part of it have two things in common. One, most of them are not even a fan of the zombie genre, which if you're not a fan of the zombie genre, why are you even making a video on it? And I mean, you have the right to, but you're not a fan of the genre, you don't get it. That's the problem. And two, they've never seen Z Nation. Again, there's your problem. You don't understand the show because you haven't seen Z Nation. So, for those out there wondering why they seem to be able to think, because they can somewhat think in Z Nation. That's why, and this is the beginning of that. But since you haven't seen Z Nation and you're not planning on watching it, like most of them have said, you don't get that. And you're not going to. So, move on to a different show. You don't get it. It's for people that get it. Okay? And that's just I'm sorry. I've watched a few reviews that I'm just like, y'all don't get it because you haven't seen Z Nation. That's your problem. You haven't seen Z Nation. Though, I do feel like if you are a fan of the zombie genre, and you're not too picky on things like, whether or not zombies can somewhat think and stuff like that, then this show might pull you in, and you might have a good chance of liking it. I've also talked to quite a few people that's never seen Z Nation that absolutely loved this show and said it was one of the best zombie shows they've ever seen, because honestly, that's what I think. I honestly think it's better than The Walking Dead, and I am a huge fan of The Walking Dead. But I binge watched Black Summer in one night. And that's another thing I don't get, is a lot of these people that's criticizing Black Summer is like, well, I watched all the episodes in one night. You didn't quit watching. You didn't quit watching, therefore it kept you pulled in. You must have been somewhat entertained if it kept you pulled in and you kept watching. Anyhow, I personally hope that they will renew it for a second season. I have been reading that they may end up renewing it for a second season. I think that it's left open. The way that they keep going back in time with the show and following different characters, I think when we see season 2, we're going to be ending up going back in time to the point where Rose is separated from her daughter and following her daughter's journey throughout this entire fiasco. I personally think that's what we'll be looking forward to season 2. And I really hope that's what we're going to be seeing in season 2, because I would like to see what her journey was up to the point to the end, and what ended up actually happening to her. Also, for other future seasons, I would also like to see, other survivors and what happened with them, and maybe even if they can get the cast back for it, bring in people from Z Nation so that we can see what happened to them during the Black Summer. Like Addie, because we already know some things about what happened in the beginning, like Addie having to kill her parents over in Z Nation. She did talk about things like that. We got little hints of what happened during Black Summer with that cast, but we don't know the full story. And I think a lot of people would love to see people from the old cast come back, like Addie and 10K and Warren and Doc, and find out exactly what happened to all of them during the Black Summer. That would be a very interesting twist to all this, though I don't really see it happening because it seems like they're very much trying to be their own show, so I don't know if we will ever actually get to see that, though I would very much love to get to see that. Either way, it's a great show. I loved it. I binged it in one night. I can't wait for season 2. And I love seeing that, you know, it seems to be an overnight big hit, at least from what I've been reading. So, have you seen Black Summer? And if so, what did you think about it? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and that subscribe button. And share this out to all your good friends. And I'll see you next time. Peace.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.